Hi, all, and welcome to another micro podcast of Lean and Leaders. So, Larry, what are we talking about today?
Shad, excited to be here talking about a really interesting technique called box breathing. I posted about this recently, and when we thought about what we're going to talk about today, I started thinking it would be really cool if we brought the technique to life right on our video cast.
Okay.
This is a really interesting technique because it induces calm pretty quickly. There's a focus element. And as a result, there's an impact on performance, which obviously in high pressure situations becomes really important, whether it's in the workplace or out of the workplace. As a matter of fact, you're probably reading and hearing a lot more about this technique, and people in special forces in the military and even elite athletes are using box breathing, also sometimes called four square breathing, as a way of increasing calm and focus in the moment or at any time.
All right. Sounds interesting. So, how is box breathing different compared to, say, other breathing techniques?
Right. So, first, it is definitely classified as a deep breathing technique. So, as a result, you really start to slow your breathing pattern. As a result, you start to decompress your body, which
Okay.
also induces the calm. And as I mentioned a minute ago, there's that focus element. Well, that's because as you use box breathing, there's a visualization component where you start to imagine the lines of a box being drawn as you are working through the
Okay.
cycle of the breathing pattern itself.
Okay. So, what are the basics? Like, how does the technique work?
Yeah, it's really simple. That's what's so intriguing about this deep breathing technique. You're essentially breathing in and out for cycles that include 4 second
Okay.
components. So for
Okay.
example, you breathe in for 4 seconds, you hold for four, you exhale for four, and then you hold the pattern again at the end. And as again I mentioned, you're breathing, you're imagining the lines of a box being drawn. And
Okay.
when the first box is completed, you completed the first cycle.
Okay. Sounds interesting.
So it might be, as I mentioned, why don't we just give it a shot right now?
Okay. Hey, sounds good. Let's try it.
You good?
Yeah.
All right. So the first thing I want you to do is get comfortable.
Okay.
A lot of people do, in fact, close their eyes when they do box breathing. So,
Okay.
first thing is, we'll get right into it. Just try to empty your lungs. And I want you now to breathe in for the count of four, two, three, four. Hold your breath for two, three, four. Breathe out, two, three, four. And then hold that breath for two, three, four. Shad, it is that simple. Now, what happens is you will find a lot of different articles or content where they talk about the different durations of box breathing. Most people will repeat that cycle of 4 seconds around the box for four repetitions, right? Or four
Mm-hmm.
cycles.
Mm-hmm.
Some people will hold it and do work through the cycles for up to 5 minutes. And sometimes you'll just hear people talk about breathing and working through the cycle until you actually start to feel the effect
Sure.
of the exercise itself.
Yeah. I mean, I can feel, how that potential could really add up and just kind of making you more calm and more focused. Just that one little example kind of just helps you reset a little bit and kind of really be able to dial in.
Yeah, and we didn't talk about that yet in terms of the science, so we'll keep that real light for this
Yeah.
conversation. But the reason that has that impact is because this focused cycling of breathing
Yeah.
actually impacts the autonomic nervous system, and in particular, as opposed to the sympathetic nervous system where our fight and flight is
Okay.
kicking in. This addresses and tackles the parasympathetic nervous system, which actually induces calm around the central nervous system.
Very cool. I mean, for leadership, you know how important it is to stay calm under pressure, to be focused, kind of be in that moment and be engaged. I mean, with the pace of leadership and expectations business today, that's a critical skill set to be able to have. So it kind of sounds like what suggesting, or a technique that we approach here with box breathing is before you enter into a conversation, before you're making a decision, really go back into that box breathing, calm, focus, let that parasympathetic system kick in, and then engage.
Exactly. And
Yeah,
if it
very
helps
cool.
to create some type of anchor, you could just envision yourself like, all right, got to drop in and go into a
Yeah,
quick cycle of box breathing.
yeah, absolutely. Great tool, quick, easy tool for people and leaders to use, and something probably you can use every single day. So, with that,
Yes.
we're going to jump off. I think that's a great start and a great little quick tip. This is what we're trying to do for y'all: is develop these little quick 5 minute vignettes on what is leadership and what is how you can use some tools to make yourself a more effective leader. I want to thank you for listening. Tune in next time where you can continue to lean in, leaders.